Hi, my girls, my women, my goddesses, my queens. Another episode of Be Heard Women Empowering Women. And today we're very honored to have a mindset coach who specializes in trauma and abuse recovery, which I have not found a woman yet that does not have something in her past, whether it's from a family member or a spouse or a boyfriend. So this is always a good topic. And her name is Shirley Buck. And Shirley, tell us a little bit about you.
First of all, thank you so much for having me on your show. I really appreciate that. Yes, I'm a mindset coach and I specialize in trauma and abuse recovery. I myself had went through years of trauma and abuse, and I overcame it by changing my mindset. I never did the traditional route of therapy and meds. I'm not saying that's wrong for, everybody, but this is kind of a way that gives you the tools to change your mindset in a fun way. Even one of the courses in my 1 week of the 90-day course is even dedicated to staying childlike. So it's important to incorporate joy into your life while you're healing as well. And I'm also an author as well, with a book
Oh,
being published October 4th.
and what's the name of the book?
Sweet Freedom Whispered in My Ear.
Say it again.
Sweet Freedom Whispered in My Ear.
Oh, wonderful. Now, before we go any farther, let's talk about what mindset actually means for those that might not know that term.
Okay, well, mindset is your thought process. And some of us operate every day on autopilot where we're not really thinking. We're just getting up, we're doing our regular routines, going to work, coming home, cooking dinner, watching TV, and starting all over again. And then your life is kind of, it's on autopilot. So you're always creating because your mindset does create your reality, but you're not really in tune with what you're creating. You're thinking everything is by luck or by chance.
Yes, and I find too that your core beliefs kind of shape how you see the world, at least it was for me. So if your core beliefs were not formed successfully when you were young, the way you see the world might be glass half empty instead of glass half full. Correct? Is that sort of?
Yes.
Yeah,
I have a friend that'll say, "Oh, there's 30% chance rain," and I'm like, "Yeah, but there's 70% that it's not gonna rain."
exactly. I do that with my husband all the time. He's
Right.
usually glass half empty. So,
Right.
you know, life can be a difficult journey. And there's no like direct one size fits all formula for healing from abuse or trauma, especially when it happened to you when you were young. Um, so what experience do you have experience with depression or anxiety or anything like that?
Yes, I have years of depression, anxiety. I had eating disorders. I was everywhere on the scale from 70 pounds to 200 pounds. I had addictions I needed to overcome. I at 23 finally hit a breaking point, had a major nervous breakdown, and that's what prompted my journey
Yeah,
to,
yeah.
and now in my 50s, I'm teaching others
I so
how
relate to your
to.
story already because I'm trying to get my watch to stop beeping. Um, I too, in the beginning, I didn't know what was going on, and I was self-medicating, although I didn't know that's what it was because I did not have any healthy coping strategies. So
Mhm.
I went through alcoholism and men and food, etc. Um,
Yep.
until I hit enough of an emotional and spiritual bottom that I knew I needed help. I couldn't do this by myself. I needed help. So for you, well, I will go on to say that what I did was I finally got sober, although at the time did not know that was part of the problem.
Right.
But I got sober and I did go to therapy and I did find out that I had chronic depression and anxiety disorder. So I did need medication for that. But I also needed a lot of work. And then I finally ended up finding what I call radical spirituality. It's like a spiritual community, not a church, and that helps me a lot, as well as meditating, etc. So how did you find your path to get healthier?
Absolutely. Well, my path began with my nervous breakdown and
Mhm.
why I was going through all this trauma and anxiety. I was born to deaf parents, which in itself gives you this heavy responsibility to take care of them. And to give you a quick example of that, when I was 5 years old, they divorced, and I interpreted that divorce at 5 years old.
Yes, to
So,
be your
you become grown up pretty quick. Yes.
yes.
So my mother had married someone else when I was about 8 years old, and he had talked her into selling our home, moved us into a terrible apartment, stole our money, and left, but not before molesting me.
Mm.
And then my mother became a severe alcoholic. She would be gone for days on end. She'd come home. There was a time she was raped. I had to go to the hospital with her and to interpret the whole thing at 10 years old. At 11 years old, I had to interpret her getting an abortion in an abortion clinic. And well, the book will tell more of the story, but anyway, he did it in a way that's not traditional for women. Women usually like to look nice and take pills and make sure their hair is done and everything. But she had stabbed herself repeatedly in the
Mm.
stomach and throat, and she tried to
Oh,
take my life that
gosh.
night
Oh,
as well.
that is tragic. That is
Um,
quite an
so
experience.
that's pretty traumatic for a
Yeah,
13-year-old girl.
yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. Some of the things our
Yes,
parents,
and my
uh,
my father.
go ahead, go ahead.
Oh no, that's okay. I was just gonna say that like that I was still the responsible child. My father came the next day and with had me help him clean up the mess, the blood, and I'm 13. I had to go be the one to identify her at the morgue, and
You
so all
literally
that
saw her,
was
you saw her commit suicide. Oh my
yes,
goodness.
yes,
Oh,
at the age of 13.
that's unbelievable. Uh, I just can't even wrap my head
Yeah,
around that. So,
yeah,
I had things happen to me, mostly emotional abuse when I was a child, but there was a situation where my parents were having their third child, and my brother and I, who were 5 and 4, were put in an orphanage for a week while they did that transition. And, God
wow,
bless them. They did not realize what trauma that caused for us, abandonment issues. I am not enough. I did
absolutely.
something wrong, and then at 5, became the caretaker. That's the role I took on, which you find in a lot of dysfunctional families. One of the children will take the hero role. She's going to fix everything and take care of her siblings and everything. And I did that. So there you go. I was not taught good coping strategies at all.
Right, right,
Instead, I did not trust my parents and I did not feel safe, which is a bad thing when you're 5.
absolutely.
So let me ask you, Cheryl, how can someone that has anxiety and depression, what can they do to get control of that and become an empowered woman? Let's put it that way.
Well, the way I did it, honestly, was changing my mindset. I at first, after I had that nervous breakdown at 23, because
So you're freezing, so I'm going to fill in a little bit. We're having some technical
when my
difficulties.
mother died, I thought the abuse would stop, but it didn't stop. And
Okay.
there we go. So anyway, I thought the abuse would end, and it didn't.
Yeah.
It continued in a different way.
Mm.
And like I said, when I was 23 and they had that nervous breakdown, I knew people who had went through therapy, and most of my clients are people who have been through therapy for years and they still feel stuck. Um, so I decided to go a different route. I started getting my hands in every self-help book I could, And I started out with something called the Feel Good Handbook. I don't
Oh,
remember
I
who
heard
the
of that.
author is because this was many, many years
Yeah,
ago. I remember his face on the
yeah.
cover, with the big
Uh-huh.
smile. But and I started doing the work. And 30 years later, I've done so much studying on the power of changing your mindset that it truly does change your life. It sounds like a cliche, change your mind, change your life, but it's a real thing. And then I went on to learn more about the laws of attraction and manifestation, because once I changed my mindset, and I got married, I had children, people would say, how does everything just work out for you? You say you want something to happen and it happens. And I'm like, I don't know, I guess I'm just lucky. I didn't know that by changing my mindset, I was opening up doors.
Right.
I was, I was paying attention to my emotional scale.
Yes.
And when you pay attention to your emotional scale, and you're not feeling good, then you're like, oh, wait a minute, where's my thought process today?
Yes. So I want to go back to Feeling
Okay, and
Good
then I turn it
Handbook.
around.
Yeah, the Feeling Good
Okay.
Handbook was Dr. David Burns. Does that sound right?
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
I,
And
yeah,
let's go.
I really don't remember. It's been 30
Yeah.
years since
No,
I've
I
read
just had to look it up. I'm not, my mind's not that good.
it.
So anyway,
Perfect,
the
perfect.
what you're talking about, the law of
Yeah,
the law of attraction, that is something that the spiritual community that I belong to is something that we practice. And our minister always says, it doesn't mean if you say to yourself, I want a brand new Porsche, you're going to get a brand new Porsche. That's
right.
not how it works. What it really, for me, what it means is if you put out positive vibrations into the world and your heart is open, then you will get back positive gifts.
Absolutely.
I
Yeah,
see it
when you're
that
in the
way.
receptive mode, things happen.
Yes.
And you can manifest things. It's just a little trickier because you really have to believe. And if you believe, oh, there's no way I can get a Porsche, you're never going to get that Porsche.
No.
So,
But if
so
you want a Porsche and you put that out there, you then have to do the footwork.
yeah, yeah.
You could
Yeah,
get a
but
second
but
job.
if your mindset is right, you will open up opportunities for that to happen
And
as
your
well, to
mind,
do the footwork
right,
towards
right,
right.
right. And your mind has to be open enough to see it, that it's an opportunity.
Absolutely. Yes, yes. It's a process for sure.
I see that a lot with people that they don't see that something's an opportunity. And
Right,
that's what we're talking about. You have to see things in a certain light. Like,
right,
maybe you get fired from a job and you're thinking that's the worst thing in the world that can happen to you. And all of a sudden comes this better job because someone knows that you need a job and they go, oh, she might be just right for what I want, right? So you have to just be open
right.
to civility. Let's put it that way. Yeah.
Yes.
So now overcoming abuse and trauma is tough. Um, First of all, I think some women especially, don't want to admit that they were abused or that there's trauma. Like they don't want to admit that when their husband
Yes.
pushes them in the kitchen and they're making dinner, that that's abuse, like things like that.
Right.
What do you think about that? Well, first of all, realizing and
Well,
accepting that.
that's exactly why I wrote my book. I felt like I needed to be vulnerable and really put my whole life out there and hopefully inspire others to be able
To
to
see.
come forward. I think when being vulnerable, that's why I mean, there's what I gave you is just the tip of what happened to me, but
Yeah,
it's all in my book. So that's kind of was a scary move because I'm like, whoa, I'm putting it all out there, but I can't expect people to come to me and be open if I'm not doing the same.
I
So
agree.
yeah, so yeah, the first step is admitting it. And in my course, my 90-day course, there's a week dedicated to taking ownership. And
That's big.
yeah,
Yeah.
taking
I
ownership is gives you power.
I've always been an open book. Um, Not when I was in the abusive relationships. I was not an open book then. I did not talk about what was going on in my household with my parents. what was actually going on with the ex-husbands. There were two. And when I finally started to look for who I was and work on a journey of reassessing who I was, I did write a book too. And mine was called Raised by Wolves, Trapped by Demons. And the wolves are my parents, and the demons are my husbands.
Wow, all right. I love
Oh, I
that. Those
framed it
kind of
for
books.
myself. But I wrote everything. It was very detailed. And at one point, my husband said, I don't know, you sure you want to put this in the book? And I went, honey, if I'm going to write a memoir, it's going to be totally honest. I am not
That's
leaving.
what I did as well.
And I didn't. So I'm sure you did the same thing. And tell me again. You told me, but tell me again the name of the book. Your book. I
Sweet
sent. Oh, sweet
freedom whispered in my ear. Whispered in my ear.
freedom whispered in my ear. Wow, that's a powerful title. That really is. And you're on Amazon?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it has a picture of a disheveled, like looking young girl in a apartment that's kind of battered and dingy, and she's standing there looking in the mirror, and in the reflection is a young, confident, vibrant woman walking away, like in the nature, in the meadow, kind of like with a happy gait, and uh like I'm walking away from all that.
Yeah,
So that's the cover of the book.
that's powerful imagery for sure. That really says
Thank
what
you.
the book is
Thank
going
you.
to be about. And so you do have your own practice, your own business, whatever you want to call it. And how do you do with that? Like, what do you do with clients?
First, we have a consultation and we talk about what they want to achieve.
Mhm.
And I have a 90-day course that helps them to change their mindset. In that 90 days, they will be in a habit. There's weekly lessons with daily activities, and
Mhm.
then they talk to me once a week as well.
Mhm.
So the talking to me is not so much about the course. The course is a simple course. So if you follow it, you will change your mindset, and you will see evidence of your life improving. The talking with me is more of what the customized part of it, because every client is different, and every client has to talk about different things that are setting them back. And then there's different tools along the mindset tools that they can use to get over, the trauma. And when I say get over, I really mean that. I remember someone saying, "Oh, it's so great that you found a way to cope." And I'm like, "No, I found a way to get over it. I'm happy, I'm joyful, I have a beautiful family. I no longer let my abusers affect my life. They didn't rob me of anything anymore. I didn't, they no longer have my power." And the past, good or bad, truly does not exist. The only way it exists is if we give it thought. So if we're giving thought to the abuse, and we're giving power to it, we're hurting ourselves, we're damaging ourselves. I mean, people get sick because of things like this, they
Yeah.
get diseases, and um, all because a belief is just something we thought for a long time. So we just need to change that,
Yes.
and don't give thought to it. I mean, of course, there's stuff that doesn't go away, but it is things that you can control and focus on more positive things and things that you're grateful for. And and it sounds so simple, and it is simple, but it's not easy. and
No.
it, and it you just start seeing things changing in your life, and then you think about that less and less, and then there comes a time when you can think about it and tell your story like I am now, and it doesn't affect me.
Yes.
Writing the book was a bit tough because I wrote everything down that happened first, and then I revisited everything and shared the emotions and the colors and where I was, and
Yeah.
when all this thing happened. But I also have two grandchildren who were with me a lot during the time of me writing the book, and they kept the laughter, the joy, the magic. They kept me here when I had to be there.
Yeah.
So,
Like,
and they still to this day keep I always have a playful side anyway. I love to play, I guess maybe because I didn't get to as a child.
Yeah,
But
that's what we need that. So what are some of the
yeah,
tools that you give your clients?
well, like I said, there's a weekly lessons which have to do with ownership, letting go, not feeling guilty. Sometimes we feel guilty if we're happy, if something happened to us or something happened to somebody we love in the
Hmm.
past. We feel like, oh my God, if I move on and I'm joyful and I'm happy, you feel guilty. So there's so many things that you need to address. You need to learn to let go of toxic people in your life. You need
Yeah.
to get over the guilt. You need tools to, like I said, first take ownership, and you have to learn to be playful and joyful, and that it's okay. It's okay to be joyful and happy.
Do you
And
suggest things like meditation,
yes, meditation
mindfulness?
is part of it. Yeah, meditation, affirmations. Um, yeah, that's part
I
of the
think that,
daily activities that
that
after
is
the
important.
lesson, yeah, for the week.
And you need someone to talk to besides like your counselor or your therapist. Like that was a hard thing for me. I did have a couple friends that I could talk to and they moved away. So we still talk on the phone once in a while, but it's not the same. I don't
Right.
talk to them as often. And because of the pandemic and all the things I went through in 2020, um, my depression worsened. I had been fine for years, fine. And all of a sudden, I knew I was suffering from depression because I was being nasty to my husband. Now, if
Right.
you knew my husband, he's an angel, and he
Right.
has Parkinson's. My God, why would I be mean to him? But I
Right.
was. I was saying, I was reacting in a way that was not nice. So I immediately recognized what was going on. Now, that's just a gift that I was able to do that, have the self awareness to say, oh, that's depression, you know. But I went back into therapy, and every 2 weeks, I have this wonderful therapist, and we have an hour together. And I'm telling you, Shirley, that hour goes by, and I always have something. And I keep saying, you can't leave me alone for 2 weeks. But when you have family, when you have your kids, you have grandkids, you have neighbors, you have people you have to deal with at work or maybe volunteer group, you are going to meet people that trigger you. You want to talk about triggers? Do you believe in that? That there's triggers?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I think having someone else to talk to is good. And also what we were talking about with mindfulness and mindset and meditation, the 3 M's. Just what I was taught was when I'm triggered to pause. I pause. And if I can't leave the room with the person that's triggering me, I can just do tapping. Do you know about tapping? It's called EFT. Yeah.
Yes, tapping is wonderful.
Is that
Yes.
wonderful? And they don't know
Yes.
what I'm doing.
I
They don't know what I'm doing. I just start going, let them talk. And I'm going like this. And it just,
yes, I love tapping. Yes.
yeah. It's a,
Right.
so that's a tool. Like there's all these tools. And people just don't know that they,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
yeah,
Tools are important.
yeah. I always tell people I have a spiritual toolkit right here next to me. There's so many things you can do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what other?
Yes, I'm also an energy healer.
Oh, okay.
I am a Reiki master, and so energy work is another tool. It's another release. It's another healing method.
People don't understand. A lot of people don't understand Reiki. I have a niece that's Reiki. I don't know if she's a master, but she does Reiki. And I had it with her once, and then I had it with a professional person once. And there is something that happens, like energy gets released,
Absolutely.
and I still
Yeah,
don't know how that
it's
works.
more of a thing to experience in order to understand it,
Yeah,
because you can explain it till you're blue in the face, but until you actually experience it,
yeah,
it's really something
yeah. Well, we have to go back to
is kind of indescribable, and
right.
it's personal to each person.
Yes, yes, it is. Oh, it is. But, you know, Eastern philosophy and medicine, you know, they've been doing these things for 1,000 years. You know, they've been doing things like meditation and energy healing and all these things that the West is just the last maybe 50 years has started doing it, right?
Right,
That's
right.
what, so there's a lot, there's so much out there. Um, so what else do you think is a big factor in getting a happy, abundant, joyful life? What suggestions do you have? You just froze on me.
Well, I mean, oh,
That's,
okay. Am I there?
yeah, now you're there. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Okay. For me, it's a combination of mind, body, and soul.
Uh-huh.
You have to take care of all
All of those parts. Yeah,
of them. But if you are only taking care of your body and not changing your mind, if you are taking care of your body but not taking care of your mindset, then you're really still not in a good place. If you're taking care of your spirituality but not your mindset and your body, like it is a combination of mind, body, and soul that you have to
it is. It is. The soul can't,
address in order to heal. And
right.
I'm a big fan of,
The soul
right.
can't
And
heal
I'm a
if
big
you
fan of,
don't get quiet and let that energy that needs to be released come to the surface, right? Okay. Well, this was very interesting. I wish we had a better connection. I think there's some freezing going on Shirley's side, which is okay. Are
yeah,
you back? You
I
keep
don't know
freezing.
what's going on with this freezing stuff, but
That's okay. We'll just wrap it up with, and it's you can't really wrap up this whole topic. There's a lot to talk about. But what's the
absolutely.
main thing that you want to say to women of all ages?
That you have the power in you to heal, to be strong. You have it. You just need to bring it out. You need to own it. Take that ownership first and realize that you are the creator of your life and you can change your life. You may need a little help, and that's okay. We all do. But you have it, and you don't need to suffer in life. You can be happy and joyful.
Yeah, I love that. I'm gonna, when we get off, I'm gonna go get your book, and I hope you go get mine.
Yeah, I will get yours. And
Both
mine
leave
is the
reviews.
digital is
Yeah.
my the digital copy is coming out October 4th.
Hmm.
And then about a week or two after that is when the hardcover and softcover will come out.
So
So
what's
October 4th is the launch day
okay? That's the launch for a paperback or
for the digital.
for the digital,
The
which would
the
be
paperback
Kindle.
and the hardcover will be a couple weeks after that.
Okay,
But
so
it will be
I can get it on my
so that
Kindle though.
you can
Yeah,
get it on your Kindle, but you do not need a Kindle in order to get the digital. You don't need the Kindle, but you can get it on your Kindle. Yes.
yeah, I have a Kindle on my iPhone, so that's why I always said
Right.
that. But I
Perfect.
can't wait. And please leave a review, and I'll leave you a review because I don't think people realize us, we authors, especially women authors, the reviews really help support us. And I also
Right.
tell them, like, when I give someone my book, I say, even though you didn't buy it, you can go on Amazon or Goodreads and you could still leave a review.
Review it.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Right.
that's a dynamic
Yes.
that we
And
need.
and for the first 24 hours, it'll be available for $1.99, which is
That's
amazing.
strategy.
And yeah, and the first 24 hours is when you can really be a big support in buying the book. And it's
Oh, yeah.
for $1.99, and
To get it going.
it's
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And I do have a website, and it's shirleybuck.com.
That's easy.
And yes, so my son set it up that way. My business name is Red Leaf Alternative Healing,
I've been on
but
your
my
website.
son, yeah, but my son was like, let's do shirleybuck.com. So it's SHIRLEYBUCK
Yeah.
.com. And on there you can get onto my email list to be notified about the book as well.
Good.
And it explains everything I do. And I guess that's about it. And
Well, you know, you have gone through a lot in your life, some very traumatic things, and I can feel it inside my heart, you know, because I know what those things can do to a person. And yes,
right,
you're just trauma isn't even a big enough word for it, you know.
yeah.
But I'm glad to see you looking so beautiful and happy and
Oh,
full of
thank you.
energy
I,
today.
I really am.
Wonderful.
I really am happy, and that's why I'm sharing my story is because I wanted to show that even though I had been through all these things, I have learned to overcome it, let it go. I have a whole set of tools, and I want to share that with people that are hurting because you can heal, and that's the whole reason I'm here doing what I'm doing
You're
now.
supposed to be here. You're
Yeah,
supposed to be here.
that is my purpose.
Yeah, you really, people talk about life purpose, and you don't sit there and think about what is my life purpose. Your life's purpose shows itself to you
Yeah,
because when you see,
that is true.
it is true, right? And we
Yeah,
don't want to believe this, but all the bad things that happened were lessons we can share with other people. So maybe they don't have to go through what we went through.
absolutely.
So thank you for being here, Shirley.
Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Curious, we go read each other's books.
Yes, yes, yes. Can you
Well,
repeat yours one more time? Because it
sure,
completely
sure.
froze up when the title.
That's okay. Raised by wolves, trapped by demons. It's a
Perfect.
Mimi Tallow, and it's on Amazon and Audible and all that stuff.
I am definitely going to get it today.
Okay, let me know. Send me a text or an email. All right.
Okay.
Great having you. I'm sure we'll have you
It's
back.
great having you too.
All right. Thanks again.